Hello, everybody, and welcome to Environmental Psychology for the fall of 2025. This year, we're going to do an experiment because this is a psychology class and change your environment a little bit. And we're going to look at environmental psychology poetry as the best way to employ our knowledge, skills, and to grow as environmental psychologists. And we're going to use Perusall and we're going to use Chat GPT. So we're bringing AI explicitly into this course. And here's what we're going to do. Get yourself a free Perusall port, a free Perusall account, and you're going to enter the enrollment code for the course, which is Culhane-F48RZ, as you can see up there, and you hit OK. I'm already in the course. And that's going to take you into the master course that I teach. And one thing you have to note if you're a new Perusall user is that Perusall is always going to throw you right into assignments because they assume that most teachers are using this wonderful tool in the traditional Theory X way, where the authority figure assigns work for you. And I'm going to ask you to ignore that. Assignments are great for me because I put all the material, as you can see, in there. There's more assignments than you'll ever be able to accomplish in a lifetime or three. But that's fine. And what assignments lets me do is it lets me see all sorts of data from you guys. And what you can see if I flip through other assignments from other courses, some of the videos that I've done, or look at some of the books, you begin to see that it's giving diagnostics. For example, here in this book on climate solutions, or in this video on how to get an A in the class, you can see that there's 205 comments, 12 questions, 3 that I have yet to answer, that the average active engagement time is 18 minutes. It shows the most upvoted comments from the different students, Christina and John and Amada. And then the most active students, me and Sheila Michelli, who made 21 comments, and Florentine, who made 9. And then the least active students, Taria and Stephanie and Taylor. So I get a lot of diagnostic information from this, but you don't have to look at this at all. It's just really good for me. As you can see, this is 5 minutes average engagement time and most upvoted comments. I can really begin at a snapshot to see how we're all doing in terms of the great conversations we're having. But that said, what you want to do when you come in is ignore assignments and go to the library. That's what you would do in any research, in any class. The library is your friend, and now we have digital libraries. And you can get to the library with this tab up here on the top, or down here on the left under Content, there's Library and Assignments. And once again, I say ignore assignments and go straight to the library. When you're in the library, you're going to notice that I have organized everything into folders for each of the courses I teach, because this has every course that I teach in both Florida and New York and around the world. So the first folder you see is Culhane's grading system, methodology, rubrics, and education philosophy. If you're having any concerns or you really want to engage with the method, let's say you're training to be a teacher too, or an educator, or you just want to improve your understanding of the educational philosophy that works best for you and for others, then read the Culhane grading system. It says read this first. You can see that there have been 417 comments, 15 questions, 3 unanswered, and 25 minutes average engagement time. It's a very popular one to read, and when you open it, this will tell you everything that you need to know about how I grade. It says, are we grading or degrading our students? Let's shift paradigms. And it tells you how much time to invest in the course to get into a flow state and to be able to excel and master the course. And it tells you the 2 points per hour living wage, 2 points for every hour that you invest in the course. It tells you how to make a point in order to get a point. Every time you make a point, you make a point. It's all there, and you will get credit for reading this and for interacting with it. You'd interact with it by looking at this all conversations balloon over here And you'll see that there have been lots and lots of conversations, and you can see that some of them, there's a lot going on, like 41 comments on this one part of the document right here. This in purple, how do I get an A in this class? So 41 comments, a lot of back and forth between me and other students, helping one another as peers. You can search, you can star comments, you can get notifications, you can look stuff up in the dictionary, take your own notes, read aloud if you are doing the dishes or you're driving. You can just hit read aloud and it'll read these things aloud. So this is a great tool. You will see in that same folder, for those of you new to the game, I have a video called Perusall, Why and How We Use It in Our Classes. It's got 242 comments so far, and it really breaks it down. This video, if you watch it,
Social annotation features of Matterport and AltSpace VR.
It's fun, and it has, as you can see, all these 242 comments down here, and you can look at the most popular ones, and you'll jump to that part of the video where there's been a conversation. So I highly encourage you to look and see where most people are asking questions or making comments. Down here, there's been 5 comments based on this section. And this really teaches you how we use Perusall in this course and why. So check that out for sure. And then another very popular one, an important one, is Theory X, Theory Y. It's got 167 comments, and if you open that document up, you'll learn all about the education theory. You should note we do not use McGregor's Theory X. We don't believe in it. Theory X says work is inherently distasteful and people attempt to avoid it. Most people are gullible and unintelligent and resist change. And I don't believe that about you. You may believe it about you, but I don't. I'll try to move you over to Theory Y, where work is as natural as play if the conditions are favorable. And we intend to make the conditions favorable so you can be self-directed and creative. And then you learn about Theory Z, which talks about the community that we create and how that community can help you. And you'll see, again, there's a ton of questions and answers here. Looks like the most popular part of this document is down here, addressing higher needs such as self-fulfillment. There's another part. Here we have 10 comments on this part here. See how it highlights it in purple. Our assumption is that they seek to build cooperative and intimate working relationships with your coworkers, and people comment on that. So get to know our philosophy through these readings. Another really good one is deadlines and lifelines, because a lot of you will ask, when's it due? When's it due? There's been 270 comments on that, and if you open that up, looks like I've got one unread conversation I need to attend to. But if you open that up, you'll see, again, looking here on the right side, 24 comments on this section in the video where I talk about the way that deadlines affect people, how deadlines with hard stops make people mess up their behavioral psychology because it deters intrinsic motivation and forces us to resort to extrinsic motivation. And you can comment on that and debate it, dispute it, support it, whatever. That's a really good part of the video. I encourage you to watch the whole thing, since you're going to get 2 points per hour for every hour that you invest in document investing in the course. You might as well watch all these videos because you'll be racking up points. So this part here, there's another part of the video that has been highlighted. You'll see a lot of this. And here's the comment that I hadn't read yet. This is a student who said, at first when I joined this class, I was so confused and overwhelmed by the teaching method because I'm used to doing things one way, but being here, it allows you to think for yourself more and more and not be swayed by others' opinions or control. I'm going to upvote that. You can upvote it too, and that helps the student that posted it, and it helps you. So that's this part of the video here.
I don't know.
Third base.
So there's a little humor in there.
So, what are the deadlines for our work?
Okay, so you got that going on. There's another video of the suite of educational philosophy videos that I've made. It's called Training the Next Generation of Superheroes, Sustainable Use Superheroes, How to Get an A in the Class. 205 comments. It tells you how to do a relational summary to get the best possible points across. And you can see here, there's one that I didn't read yet. Some student has posted, because you guys, once you've joined the class, even when the class is over, you still have access to one another and to me, and you can have fun with everybody. And what just happened to my screen? Okay, that's not good. Oh, there we go. Okay, it came back. So somebody wrote recently, this is Amaris Ramos wrote, I enjoyed the animation, and this class has been completely different compared with other classes. At first I was really struggling because the way of doing work and receiving credit was new. It gives a sense of freedom that I'm not used to. So I'll upvote that. And I could write back to that student as well and say, Ama, let's see, this is from Amaris. So there's Amaris, and I can also tag the conversation for everybody else who's been in it, and then say, thanks for your reflections, and glad to hear the struggle turned into a sense of freedom. We need that these days, don't we? Okay, so there's that, and I'll submit that. So you tag people. It's social media for geeks, social media for nerds, and sometimes it's very slow. There we go. So that's in there. So check out that one. Here's another comment I haven't read. This is after the course is over. People are still coming to these and reading and interacting. Oh, so this is a student named Ashley responding to Mary and upvoting the question there. Agrees that pushing and staying determined. You're really brave and impressive. You're pushing through. Helps to remember that growth often comes from these uncomfortable moments. Keep going. Your hard work will pay off, and that A is definitely within reach. Well, in fact, Mary did get an A. And thank you to Ashley for supporting her. And you do support one another through this program and the use of this program. So you can see all the different conversations. So there's another one that I haven't read yet. Somebody else jumped in. I completely agree with you. Unity and freedom have always been essential to the strength of our country, and their positive impact is evident in how we progress. When people come together with shared purpose, it fosters collaboration. And so, yeah, this is, again, this is Ashley jumping in and connecting our course to the foundational aspect that promotes progress, liberty and justice for all, freedom, our democratic experiment. And I jumped in earlier and suggested reading The Courage to Create by Rollo May, the psychologist. And so nice conversations going on. And, you know, whenever you get into it, you can see that it has some fun stuff going on. So that's what's happening in the folder for the educational philosophy, which I really encourage you to go through. And there's a lot of other readings and videos. The Courage to Create is in there. Student versus Teacher by Prince Ia. Before You Go to School by Prince Ia. So there's a lot of content. You do get credit for everything you do in this course. Let's go then back to the other folder that's for this class specifically, which is environmental psychology, right underneath. And when we open that, there is a textbook and reading materials, and the first one of the many materials is called Parole, which is what we're going to read together this year. There's also environmental psychology textbook by Linda Stegg. That's the standard one that Mercy University has always used. There's the handbook of environmental psychology and a whole bunch of other great readings and video content to help you understand environmental psychology. But my suggestion is that you do look through peruse. That's why it's called Perusall, not Perusall. Perusall. It's a joke by the Harvard professor who created the program. You're going to peruse all the materials. So yeah, peruse it, go through it, learn about it, read and comment and get credit, 1 point per paragraph that you make. Just try to get 20 points a week for 320 points at the end of the semester, which gives you your A. That's up in this folder on the Culhane grading method, here and here and here. So it's all over here. So do read that and understand how you're getting your credit points by making your rhetorical points. But the book that we're most interested in this semester is Parole, a French poetry book from an environmental psychologist and who is an arborist who works in the trees. And he wrote this book of poetry, and I've taken this book and I've scanned it in and made it available to you. And yes, it is completely in French. And you see, when you click on any paragraph, you're going to see on the right the French in a form that you can copy paste, because this book was not done in a optical character recognition PDF, so you can't copy and paste any of the stuff here. But I went through and got my AI ally to take a look at it and then recreate the French in a way that you can copy and paste here. So where's the English? It isn't there yet, and that's going to be your job. And here's why. We live in the age of incredible artificial intelligence that surpasses in many ways human cognition. ChatGPT 5 was just released yesterday, and it's a game changer. And if you've used ChatGPT 4 all along, you know how powerful it was. I was using ChatGPT since it came out in the 3-point versions when they first released it to the public several years ago. I've watched this grow, and we know it's a game changer in education. A lot of you are going to, unfortunately, succumb to the temptation to use AI, and it'll cause you brain rot. AI causes brain rot. There's so much stuff going on. As their MIT researchers say, using ChatGPT can rot your brain, but the truth is a little more complicated, and there's differences. You can get into this. Yeah,
brain rot is actually Italian animal.
It's an Italian animal. Okay, my son thinks it's an Italian animal. Does this really show AI makes you stupider?
Brain rot is an Italian animal.
Yeah, it can be that too.
Like there's
And new shimmers, both a floor wax and a dessert topping.
Like there's the Omega Crocodilio, which is a crocodile combined with a plane.
Crocodile combined with a plane. There you go. So does it make us stupider? You decide. What are the implications of AI in assessment, learning how to use AI? We're going to have you deliberately use AI this semester and hope that you'll join the conversation, the great conversation. That is what this program does. It has conversations out here, all conversations right here. And so you're going to join the great conversation so that it doesn't become brain rot. We're going to show you how to use it in the best way, because there's all these, the MIT Media Lab, it's AI's effects on the brain. People are very worried that you're going to become stupider by using AI. And I disagree. I think the way we're using it in this class makes you smarter. It puts your brain on AI steroids. So we have to be very careful with this, but trust me, if you use this the right way, you're going to get smarter and smarter. So here's the thing. By using poetry, to using art, the thing about art is you don't want to summarize art. You really don't. You want to savor art. And here we want you to savor science. We want you to savor and enjoy the fruits of knowledge. We want to have you really find delectable this brain food for thought that you're getting. And that's the thing with art. You don't try to speed through your favorite song. You don't try to speed through your favorite movie or your favorite book, your favorite poem. You read it slowly with intent. You grasp the meaning. You internalize it. So art is the way to learn science, especially in the age of AI. I mean, look, when I put in Parole d'Arbre, immediately Google AI, when it was creating the OCR version, wrote an entire synopsis of what this book is about. And that's the kind of thing you guys as students would be tempted to turn in. Oh, yeah, I read the book. Not. I mean, I was in Medellin, Colombia last spring break with Mercy students. There were 28 of us down there, and it was our third year. Every year we bring between 15 and 30 students to Medellin. We've been doing it for 3 years. Maybe you'll join us on our environmental psychology trip this spring break. But the students there, you know, when you're hanging out and you're going into coffee plantations and cow plantations and hiking up mountains, and you're going out to restaurants, and the students are going out dancing and drinking, and everybody's going on field trips and tours and seeing this magnificent city that was once the most violent city in the world. People have become very candid. And almost every student said, yeah, these days we don't hardly read anything. And we let the AI do all the reading. We let them do all the summarizing. We let them do all the creating. And so you're paying tuition to get brain rot. And so, yeah, any one of us could just tell it, give me a summary about Parole d'Arbre or the environmental psychology textbook. And boom, it gives it to it. So that's the summary. Now you know. What are you going to do about it, I ask. And so here's a place to have a conversation. So if you have to take the French, for example, this one here, and you have to translate it, right? So here's the first part of the poem, or it's actually the foreword by the author. And I know the author, by the way. He's a friend. So here, let me show you the author. You can see his picture. He's an artist as well. But there's a picture of him up in the tree. There's another picture of him up in the tree. That's Guillaume. And let's look at this one here. De maïeutique naturelle chaque saison, l'année nouvelle, dont elle nous cause en philosophie des âges de la vie, suivant l'arbre Sophie volible, au porte le dendrognose. I want to translate that because it looks interesting to me, and we're using the maïeutic method in this class. So isn't that wild that he writes about the maïeutic method right there? But you may not know French. You're like, what's he talking about? So I got it here. You take this and you spend the time and effort, and you copy it, and you paste it, and you say, hey, ally. I don't call my AI, I call it ally. Can you translate this for me and give me the meaning and implications? So go a little deeper than that. And then take that and paste it in. And I might as well paste in the second part of it because it's one piece. So I'll grab that part, highlight that, copy it, and then let's go back in and let's put that in. And now ChatGPT says, here's the translation from natural maïeutics. Each season of the year gives birth to us. So much does it bring us a philosophy of the ages of life. Let us follow the voluble arbosopher to the gates of dendrognosis. Now this is poetry, so you need to savor that. And you may not know what that means, but there's the literal translation. So then you go by and notify me of updates to this comment. So then you go back in there and then you say, well, okay, now what does it mean? And so ChatGPT says, gives us a whole thing with implications. And I'm going to be honest about using ChatGPT, and I'm going to say in here, I'm going to submit this one comment, and then I'm going to say here, I'm going to say ChatGPT 5 says, meaning and context, and that way we're giving credit where credit is due. Don't anger the robots. They'll create a robot revolution. Always cite them. There's no shame in using AI. It's in lying that you used AI where the shame comes. So ChatGPT says maïeutic naturel refers to Socratic idea of maïeutics, literally midwifery in Greek, meaning the art of helping someone give birth to ideas or truths or questioning. Here it's natural because it's about way nature itself, through its cycles, draws out understanding from us. Chaque saison, l'année nouvelle, the verb veiller usually means to calve, when a cow gives birth to a calf. So it's a poetic way of saying that each season gives birth to us anew, shaping us like nature's own offspring. Tant elle nous cause une philosophie des âges de la vie. Nature, through its seasons, teaches us a philosophy about the stages of life. Spring is youth, summer is maturity, autumn is aging, winter is the end. Arbosoph is a neologism. Arbre, tree, plus philosopher. Tree philosopher, a wise person, the trees, the narrator, a figure embodying tree-based wisdom. Voluble, literally it means talkative, but in botany it means twining or climbing, as with plants. So the arbosopher could be someone who speaks fluidly and climbs the branches of knowledge. And then dendrognos, another neologism. Dendro, tree, neologism, by the way, means new word. Neologism, new word. It's a new word that the author made up. Like Arbosoph, he made up dendrognos, and it means tree knowledge, mystical insight, knowledge of trees or tree wisdom. And then he gives you the passage as an invitation to approach life's wisdom through the metaphor of trees and seasonal cycles, blending philosophy, nature, and a bit of mystical wordplay. The winter is positioning the natural world, particularly trees, as both teachers and guides toward deeper cyclical understanding of life. It implies observing and following tree philosophers. We move to an enlightenment rooted in the rhythms of nature. So that's what ChatGPT came up with. And so you're going to spend time reading this. And by reading it, you're going to learn. Now, how do you get credit for reading it? I've said that you get 2 points per hour invested in the class. So if you go to OBS Studio, as I'm doing here, I'm recording, you can see the green bars going there, everything that's going on my screen. And I can then upload that to YouTube or to the course. I would suggest YouTube. You can see I've been speaking for 24 minutes and 28. That's almost a half an hour, and that's a point. At 2 points an hour, I've already made a credit point by spending this half hour on this material. So you just know how long you've been working by recording your process. your engagement with it. And that gives you your, as we talk about in the Culhane grading system document and in the How to Get an A in This Class video, that gives you your living wage of 2 points an hour. And if you spend 10 hours a week on the course, then, which is what you're supposed to devote to a course every week, 3-credit-hour course, 3 hours in class, and then 3 times 3 outside of class. That's standard college time management. You get an A, just recording yourself engaging with the material, no questions asked. But you get a point for every point you make rhetorically. So every paragraph you write in the conversation, you get a point. So it's actually quicker to make points by writing stuff and sharing with others. And then if you're creative, you make even more points. So we've got a good rubric going, but this is one easy way to get an A in the course or to bring your points up as you work on getting your A through other point-making activities. Just record yourself. And OBS Studio is free. Download that, get familiar with it, and you can record everything there. So ChatGPT, OBS Studio, and Perusall, that's how we're going to use it. So when you did this, then if you want to get more points than other than just the time that you recorded working with ChatGPT with your AI, so you get smart, you enter your thing there and you say something like, I was so impressed to learn that Guillaume was also a fan of meiosis, the maieutic method of midwifing ideas naturally into play and abundance with mutual respect. I shared with him my use of it in this class, and we became like brothers in environmental psychology, hugging when we left. The idea of being an arbosoph, spelled that arbosoph, or philosopher of trees, as a metaphor for life, using dendrognose or branching knowledge, speaks powerfully to me and defeats and defies the misapplied ideas that so many students have ADHD, when in fact their minds are simply trying to go up and down different branches and root systems like plants do in their voluble ways. Remember, climbing, twining, wrapping your mind around different ideas, following them down the rabbit hole. I mean, whatever you want to say. That's my contribution in there, and I guess I should have put that. Let me take that out of there because I want to make that into a separate comment. Actually, if it'll let me. Maybe it won't let me. Let's see. Should. Yeah. So I think it's good to submit your comments and then always start another comment. And the other thing is, when you are doing this, you can say at everyone, tag people, at conversation, and at people like Thomas H. Culhane. You should always include me or I won't get notified. Let's see. CH, does that come up? Culhane come up. Yes, okay. So I'm going to tag myself, and I'm also going to tag my son. He's in the course as well. So there. So then you get notifications, and that paragraph right there, there's actually 2 paragraphs, almost 3. That would get me between 2 and 3 points across. And the whole point is to get your point across. That's the point that I'm trying to get across, that you make points to make points. You make rhetorical points to make credit points. And I just made 1, 2, 3 points that I wanted to get across there. These are ChatGPT's points, so I'm not going to claim anything from there. That's the time that I'm recording here of working with ChatGPT and doing the reading. But what I wrote there are my 3 points, and I'm going to ask for 3 credit points for those 3 points if they got across to others. And by others responding, we know they got across. So that's how you do this. You don't have to worry that it's in French. You should celebrate that it's in French, like this one here, Hum Hum. He's got some great stuff in here, and I'm going to go for this last one here and grab that, copy it. I'm going to go into ChatGPT, and I'm going to ask for this. Now it knows this is what I want, so I'm going to pop that in, and it says, here's this, and I'll get the literal translation, and then the meaning and context, and then the implication. And we go for that, and I'll put that in here. And here, then I'll read it. Again, I'm clocking that, right? So now we're at 31 minutes. And so I read it, and I'm getting paid in a sense in credit for spending the time reading it. As much an atmospheric humidifier as anything else, these living pillars of carbon memory nourish an idea of a petrified forest that an oracle has been sketching since the Iron Age, all the way to the arduous Gothic, when dawns threaten no longer to allow us to inhale certain woods still intertwined with the organic cortege that accompanies them, growing harmony in the hope of assembling. And then there's this incredible meaning that ChatGPT gives us, making us smarter all the time. And you can learn a foreign language this way, really, if you want to. Here's the implication. It mixes ecological awareness with mythopoetic imagery. It warns a potential future where certain sensory experiences like smelling specific woods could vanish. At the same time, it celebrates the interconnectedness of forest life and the hope that these systems can be preserved and restored. The Oracle and Gothic reference places trees in both human cultural memory and natural history, implying they're both the inspiration for our highest artistic achievements and the foundation of ecological harmony. That's ChatGPT. I don't get credit for that. I just get credit for reading it. And I get more credit for reading it aloud and recording myself. And maybe you want to make a podcast about it. Maybe you want to make a video of your own. But then you want to go in and you want to enter your own comments so that you can get points for making your points. So I could put in here something like, I'd not considered that such poetry could be used to study environmental psychology, but with the help of ChatGPT, I see how ecological awareness is being fostered through these words. And I have to say that I needed an AI ally to explore this poetry because, let's face it, poetry is hard. It requires a depth of understanding that takes profound probing and constant reflection. Using AI to help with that understanding helps me see connections I could never see on my own. So I've made a point there. That's the kind of reflection. You want to be very personal with your reflections. Oop, once again, it looks like I'd better separate this out and let you know that this is me. Otherwise, people won't know this is me. They'll think it's still the machine. So I'm going to say my reflection, TH. Right. And then that's in there. Normally, the comments would be separated by other people's comments, but since it's only me right now writing to me, it all ends up in one big comments. So let people know that's what you're doing. So go ahead and read this this book. Note that you can also comment on the pictures. There's some beautiful artwork here, and right here, when we look at that syntagm, I might comment here. There's nothing really to translate here. I mean, there's the syntagm. If you want to know what that means, then you come up here. Let's see what syntagm is. Okay, so syntagm is secondary growth, botanical item, and croissance primary growth, and then symbiotic implications. So let's put that in there. But the thing I want to say in here is, and this would be my comment, TH, this reminds me of what Dr. Christian Taylor taught us in the Ray's ecology course this summer in Marne, France, about how fungi will maintain their space by creating a special barrier substance. It's a black barrier substance that protects their territory and keeps them from fighting. And I can't remember what that was, so the great thing is I'm working with ChatGPT, which is prone to error, but you can always check it. So I can say to Chat, because we're having a conversation, me and Chat. So I say this reminds me of that, and then I can ask Chat, what is that substance called? And then let's see if Chat can come up with it. It's not melanin. Okay, fungal melanin. Territorial defense, but it has a name. So I'm going to take what it is, show that I'm having a conversation about this part of the environment, and let me again say notify me. Let me submit that, and then say that Chat said, right? But then I have to ask Chat, he had another name for it with initials, some acronym that he and Dr. Alan Rayner studied. Can you find it? It's in my notes, but it's now searching the web. ISA, interest-specific antagonism. No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that. And that's where I need to find my notes, if I can, for the course. But you can do this all day long, and that's called research, y'all. Okay. It was 4 letters, I think, or something like that. So this is studying and going down the rabbit hole. And again, we're recording this, so I know how much time I spent studying. So he says it makes these black lines when you cut a tree open. Dark lines, boundaries, interspecific. So I'm going to have to continue doing the research and figure out what that stuff was called. But at least I'm documenting this this wonderful conversation that I'm having. And so you can kind of get obsessed with it. You want to go through and say, well, what's this about? There's this other piece of poetry here. Dans le sillage des familles sillage sage et science, and just have a whole fun thing. So I can say, what about And it's going to grow with us, of course. That line is a clever piece of French words. In the wake of the first sawings, wise is the science, and it's dendrochronology with tree rings. And so I'll take that, put that in here. And you can do this on your own too. Don't assume that just because I've done some of these that you and others can't do your own investigations and put the translations that you get. So we're explicitly using ChatGPT. We're explicitly using OBS Studio to record ourselves. And then we are specifically reading this text. And where you'll get most of your points across is if you were to really keep coming back to this and querying what this has to do with environmental psychology. And you can even ask ChatGPT, say, hey chat, or say hey ally in my case, can you explain to me what this book has to do with the environmental psychology course I'm taking at Mercy University? And you can ask that, but if you tell them about yourself and knowing that I am, I am fascinated by early childhood education, whatever it is, what or how can I apply this, the lessons from this Parole to my life and career. So if you ask, the more you ask it, the more that you're going to get a more customized thing. So you're drawing a beautiful connection between Parole and your environmental psychology studies, especially given your passion for early childhood education. And then it'll start telling you why this is connected, because that's what this machine does. It connects it to your life. So you can put that in somewhere, and I would say, that's something you do when you get down to the bottom of the book, and you say, grab any place in here and make a highlight, open a thing, and then put that in there. Just engage. That's the point. Use ChatGPT as a journey of self-discovery. Ask it constantly how what we're doing relates to your own ambitions, your own past, your dreams, your studies. And when you want to really help make that connection, you become a dendrognose. You become a dendritic or branching intelligence. Because if you come into the library and go into the folder and go to the environmental psychology textbook and open that one up, you can start mining that and enter it into the conversation. So for example, open up this book. I know, I'm almost done. Open up this book, find where the big conversations are going on. There's 14 comments on the introduction. This introduction, we can say, grab a couple of paragraphs here, for example, copy that. It'll let me, maybe it won't. Let's see if I can get that. Can't highlight that much, so maybe I grab this much. It's a little bit tricky to get stuff out of here. It's not made for you to copy and paste, obviously, but there's a piece. So if I come up here and I copy that to the clipboard, and I say to ChatGPT, we are using Steg's environmental psychology textbook. Can you help me relate the first paragraphs of that book to the poetry book we are reading together? It is, and then you can paste those in. And then it says you want to bridge the opening ideas to the poetic reflective style. Here's how they connect. And it'll tell you core interplay between people and environment. And again, you don't get a point for every paragraph that ChatGPT wrote. I'm going to enter this comment in here. And I'm going to say from Chat GPT when I asked how to relate this textbook intro to Parole. And so I get a point for asking that 1 point. It's making all these points. That's its point, but you're making a contribution and you're learning something. Okay, so that's the journey that we're on. And you can do this to make these interconnections everywhere. Keep ChatGPT open. Keep that conversation going there. Join the conversations in Parole d'Arbre and in the other books that we have and in the videos. And then record it all and then send us the video to document your time or report the amount of time that you've spent. Right now, I'm at 45 minutes, so I'm almost at 2 points, and I've made several points in here. So I probably made about 4 or 5 points or 6 just in this 45 minutes. And so if you do put in a couple of hours of homework, then you're guaranteed to pass. Try to make at least 2 comments. 4 comments a day for 5 days, and you'll be at A level all the time. So I hope that helps, and we'll see you in Perusall.